Captain Ryland stared out of the cockpit window, watching the purple and gold haze of Epsilon Prime's atmosphere swirl around the colony below. It was his first time visiting this system personally, though his ship, the Horizon, had delivered supplies here countless times. Even from this distance, the city looked alive, towers of glass reflecting the light of the system's twin suns, floating vehicles moving like swarms of fireflies. Ryland's co-pilot, a young human named Jace, was busy checking the instruments. "Everything looks fine," Jace said. "Sensors show the colony is peaceful, no anomalies," Ryland grinned. "Peaceful or boring?" he asked. "Because honestly, I could use a little chaos today, makes life more interesting." Jace laughed. "I think we're about to get both." They were there for a diplomatic mission, but Ryland knew that even the calmest colonies could hide surprises. He had learned that lesson long ago. Humans were adaptable, and that adaptability had allowed them to colonize countless star systems. But so far, none of that had prepared him for meeting Lyra. She was waiting at the docking station, her bright green eyes studying the approaching ship with quiet curiosity. Lyra wasn't fully human. She was a hybrid, part human and part alien from one of the nearby systems. Her unique physiology made her stronger, faster, and smarter in certain ways than ordinary humans, but she carried herself with the calm confidence of someone used to being underestimated. Ryland stepped off the ship, giving a casual wave. "Captain Ryland," he said, introducing himself. "And this," he gestured to Jace, "is my apprentice." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "Lyra," she said. Her voice was soft, but it had a resonance that made people listen. "Lyra, Ryland said, keeping his tone light. Then on impulse, he added with a grin, "You'd make a cute wife." The words hung in the air for a moment. Lyra's expression didn't change. She simply tilted her head slightly and said nothing. Ryland blinked. He had expected laughter or a playful tease, not silence. But there was something in her eyes, something unreadable, that made his chest tighten slightly. He decided to move on, guiding them to the main hall where the colony leaders were waiting. The building was massive, with high ceilings and walls of translucent material that allowed light to pass through. It had a warm, welcoming feel, and yet there was a subtle tension beneath the surface. The colony had its own rules, its own politics, and Ryland had to tread carefully. Lyra followed silently, walking beside him. Ryland noticed how she observed everything, the smallest details of the architecture, the movement of people, the subtle hum of energy running through the walls. Her mind was always calculating, always analyzing. During the meeting with the Colony Council, Ryland took the lead, explaining the purpose of their visit. A routine inspection of the energy systems, combined with a diplomatic check-in. Everything was meant to go smoothly, but Ryland knew better than to expect routine. Lyra stepped forward when the council started discussing technical matters, her knowledge of hybrid tech making her explanations precise and clear. Ryland watched her work and felt a mix of admiration and surprise. Humans were resilient, yes, but Lyra was something beyond that. She represented a new evolution, a blend of human curiosity and alien advantage. After the meeting, the council members left, leaving Ryland and Lyra alone in the observation deck. The twin suns were dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows and bathing the city in orange light. "You're impressive," Ryland said quietly. "You really know your stuff." Lyra looked at him, her expression neutral. "I do my best." "You do more than that," Ryland said, stepping closer. He hesitated, remembering his earlier joke. "About that, he scratched the back of his neck. "You know the cute wife comment?" Lyra's green eyes softened ever so slightly. She didn't answer immediately, just studied him. Then in the quiet hum of the observation deck, she whispered, "Yes." Ryland blinked. "Excuse me?" "I said yes," she repeated, quieter this time. "But not in the way you think. I mean, I'm willing to trust you." The meaning sank in slowly. It wasn't about a joke or a marriage proposal. It was about trust, a rare gift in a galaxy where alliances were fragile and life could change in a moment. Ryland felt a strange warmth spread through his chest. He wasn't used to people trusting him so easily, and yet here was Lyra offering a connection without words, without expectations. The moment was broken when the ship's communicator beeped urgently. Jace's voice came over the line. "Captain, you need to see this. Sensors are picking up unusual energy readings near the northern sector of the colony. It doesn't match anything in the system's logs." Ryland's smile faded. "Show me," he said. The three of them rushed to the sensor room where holographic displays flickered to life. A swirling, unstable energy field hovered above the northern sector, pulsing with a strange, almost organic rhythm. "Looks like a storm," Jace said, "but it's not natural, it's controlled." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Someone or something is manipulating it." "We need to investigate carefully," Rylan nodded. "Agreed, let's suit up." Minutes later, they were aboard a small scout craft hovering above the energy field. The storm writhed and twisted like a living creature, sparks dancing across its surface. Rylan felt the familiar thrill of adventure. Danger was always a test, a chance to prove humanity's courage and ingenuity. Lyra monitored the sensors, calling out readings and adjustments. "The field responds to our presence," she said. "It's intelligent, or at least semi-intelligent. We need to be careful." Rylan smiled. "Careful is my middle name." Lyra raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Instead, she focused on the controls, guiding the scout craft closer to the heart of the energy anomaly. Suddenly, the field pulsed violently, sending shockwaves through the craft. Alarms blared, and Rylan gripped the controls tightly. "Hold steady." Lyra's fingers flew across the console, rerouting power and stabilizing the ship. "Almost there, just a little longer." Finally, they broke through the outer layer of the energy storm, revealing a small structure floating above the colony. It was metallic, sleek, and unlike anything Rylan had seen before. Symbols glowed faintly along its surface, resonating with the pulsing energy around it. Jace whistled. "Where did that come from?" Lyra studied it carefully. "It's not from this system. Whoever or whatever built this, it's advanced, highly advanced." Rylan's mind raced. This was no ordinary problem, but if there was anyone who could handle it, it was Lyra. And somehow the quiet trust between them felt like a secret weapon, stronger than any technology. As the scout craft hovered, preparing to investigate further, Rylan realized that the galaxy was far bigger and stranger than he had imagined. But with Lyra by his side, he felt ready for anything. The adventure was just beginning, and the whispered "yes" echoed in his mind, a small but powerful reminder that human courage and connection could shine even across the stars. And for the first time in a long while, Rylan felt truly alive. The small scout craft hovered silently above the mysterious structure. Rylan and Lyra sat side by side, the hum of the engines filling the cockpit, while Jace stared at the holographic readings with wide eyes. The anomaly below pulsed in a strange rhythm, almost like it was alive, and the symbols along its metallic surface seemed to shift as if watching them. "This thing doesn't belong here," Jace said, finally breaking the silence. "I've never seen tech like this. Not human, not alien we know of, it's something else." Lyra's fingers danced across the controls, her eyes scanning the energy readings. "It's not just technology, there's intelligence behind it, some kind of advanced programming, but it behaves almost like it thinks." Rylan leaned forward, his hands resting on the control panel. "So, it's smart and dangerous. Perfect. Just another Tuesday for humanity." Lyra gave him a sharp look but didn't reply. Instead, she continued to analyze the structure. "If we want to investigate safely, we need to approach carefully. Any wrong move could trigger the energy field to react violently." Rylan nodded. "Agreed. We'll take it slow. I want to know what we're dealing with before it decides to fry us like toast." The craft descended closer, the strange energy crackling against the shields. The closer they got, the more Rylan felt a strange mixture of awe and unease. The structure was not large, but it seemed to hum with power as though it contained a heart. The alien symbols glowed brighter as they neared, responding to the presence of the human and hybrid minds inside the craft. Lyra pointed to a section of the structure. "There's a control interface here. I can try to access it remotely, but it might be risky." Rylan's grin returned. "Lyra, you're the expert. Show me what you've got." Lyra worked quickly, her hybrid abilities giving her an advantage in processing the alien code. Lines of glowing symbols streamed across the interface, and she manipulated them with ease. Rylan watched, impressed. This wasn't just human skill, it was human ingenuity enhanced. Suddenly, the energy field pulsed violently. Sparks leapt across the cockpit, and the craft shuddered. Jace cried out, "Captain, we're being pulled in." Rylan's hands flew across the controls. "Hold steady. Lyra, what's happening?" Lyra's eyes were fixed on the interface. "It's responding to our intrusion. I can't control it fully yet." The craft wobbled dangerously as the energy field tried to drag them toward the structure. But then Lyra shouted, "Got it!" She pressed a sequence on the console, and the field's pull eased just enough for the craft to stabilize. Rylan exhaled slowly. "Nice work, that was too close." Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. "We're not out of danger yet." Rylan looked at her, his heart racing. "Something tells me this is only the beginning." They hovered over the interface, and Lyra began to extract information. Images, symbols, and schematics filled the holographic display. The structure was a type of monitoring station, designed to observe colonies across multiple systems. But the data revealed something alarming. The station had been transmitting energy pulses to several points within Epsilon Prime's northern sector. Jace frowned. "Are you saying this thing was controlling parts of the colony?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, and whoever sent it or created it had plans that could threaten not just this colony but others nearby." Rylan's mind raced. "Then we can't leave it here, we need to disable it." Lyra's eyes darkened. "It won't be easy. The energy field isn't just defensive, it's integrated with the structure. Any attempt to shut it down could trigger it to explode or worse." Rylan smirked. "Well, we're humans. We're supposed to do impossible things, right?" Lyra gave him a small, almost exasperated look, but her fingers moved with lightning speed, analyzing every possible option. "There might be a way to reroute the field temporarily. If we can stabilize it, we can shut down the station safely." Rylan leaned back. "Then let's get to work. Time to show them why humanity survives in every corner of the galaxy." They worked together, a seamless team. Rylan handled navigation and defensive measures while Lyra manipulated the alien interface. Jace monitored external sensors, ready to alert them to any unexpected changes. The pulse of the energy field grew stronger, testing their focus and coordination. After tense minutes, Lyra's face lit up. "I've found a window. If we send a counterpulse at precisely the right frequency, we can neutralize the field long enough to access the core." Rylan's grin returned. "Then let's do it." The counterpulse was risky. It required exact timing and coordination. One mistake and the energy field could tear the scout craft apart. Lyra initiated the sequence while Rylan maneuvered the craft into position. Jace held his breath, monitoring the fluctuating energy levels. The field pulsed violently, thrashing against the counterpulse. Sparks flew across the cockpit and alarms screamed. Rylan gritted his teeth, holding the craft steady. Lyra's hands moved faster than he had ever seen, fingers tapping sequences in a blur. And then, silence. The energy field dissipated, leaving the structure exposed. Rylan let out a long breath. "Nice work, Lyra. You saved our skins." Lyra nodded, but her attention was already on the next step. "We need to access the core. That's where the main controls are. If we can shut it down completely, we'll neutralize the threat." The core chamber was deep within the structure, a labyrinth of metallic corridors and glowing symbols. Rylan, Lyra, and Jace moved cautiously, aware that any sudden movement could trigger hidden defenses. Lyra led the way, analyzing the alien technology and guiding them safely. "The symbols are complex, but they respond to logic and pattern recognition. Follow me and don't touch anything unless I say so." Rylan followed, impressed by her calm focus. Even in the face of danger, Lyra remained steady, a reminder of humanity's adaptability and intelligence. Finally, they reached the core chamber. A massive spherical device hovered in the center, pulsing with energy. It was both beautiful and intimidating, a testament to a civilization far beyond their own. Lyra studied the controls. "If I reroute the power, we can disable the station without triggering an explosion, but it will take precise timing." Rylan nodded. "Then we trust your skills." "Let's do this." Lyra worked quickly, tapping into the alien system. Rylan and Jace watched the energy readings, ready to react if anything went wrong. The pulse of the station slowed, then steadied, and finally the core powered down completely. The structure went silent, its threat neutralized. Rylan let out a relieved laugh. "We did it! Humanity triumphs again!" Lyra smiled faintly, though her eyes betrayed a mix of relief and caution. This was only the first step. Whoever sent this station may have more advanced plans. Rylan's grin widened. "Then we'll just have to stop them, one impossible mission at a time." As they returned to the scout craft, Lyra glanced at Rylan. "You know, you weren't entirely wrong earlier, about trust, I mean." Working together, it made a difference. Rylan's chest warmed at her words. "I'm glad you whispered yes that day. It meant more than you know." Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. "I meant it." Not because of a joke, but because I saw that humans, you adapt, you survive, you fight when it matters, and you don't give up easily. Rylan felt a surge of pride, not just in himself, but in all of humanity. Across the galaxy, humans were proving themselves capable of anything, even in the face of incomprehensible technology and unknown dangers. Jace broke the quiet, laughing. "Captain, I think you two are getting sentimental. Can we focus on getting back before the rest of the colony notices the missing energy station?" Rylan laughed, clapping Jace on the shoulder. "You're right. Adventure can wait until later. But remember this, humans don't just survive, we thrive, and we're stronger together." Lyra nodded in agreement, a new respect and quiet connection forming between them. The galaxy was vast and full of danger, but with trust, ingenuity, and courage, humanity could face anything. As the scout craft lifted away from the neutralized station, Rylan looked at the stars stretching endlessly around them. He knew this was only the beginning. The universe held challenges far beyond their imagination, but for the first time he felt certain that humans, flawed, clever, determined humans, could meet those challenges head-on. And beside him, Lyra's quiet confidence was a reminder that sometimes the strongest force wasn't technology or weapons, but trust, connection, and the human spirit. The scout craft glided back toward the colony, the twin suns of Epsilon Prime dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows over the city. The threat from the rogue station had been neutralized, but Rylan knew this was only the first step. Whoever had sent it might have other plans, and humanity's resilience would soon be tested again. Lyra sat quietly, her fingers tracing lines on the console as if replaying the events in her mind. Rylan glanced at her, noting the calm determination in her eyes. She was more than just a skilled hybrid engineer. She was the embodiment of human potential combined with alien ingenuity. "Do you think they'll try something else?" Jace asked, nervously, breaking the silence. Rylan shook his head. "They might. But we've shown them humans can adapt. We're clever, fast, and unpredictable." Lyra gave a small smile. "And we work well together. That matters more than you realize." Rylan's heart warmed at her words. Their quiet trust had become a bond, forged under pressure and danger. But he knew the real test was yet to come. The warning alarms blared suddenly, cutting through the calm. Red lights flashed across the console. "Sensors detect multiple incoming ships unidentified approaching the colony," Jace shouted. Rylan's grip tightened on the controls. "Get us to a higher orbit. We need a clear view of what's coming." From the observation viewport, the approaching ships were visible, sleek, dark, and menacing, their energy signatures unfamiliar and ominous. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "They're not from this system. They're the same origin as the station. Whatever they are, they mean business." Rylan's mind raced. Humanity had survived countless threats, but the scale of this attack was different. "We'll need a plan, fast." Lyra tapped on the console, analyzing the ship's movements. "They're using coordinated patterns. It's tactical, intelligent, but there's a flaw. If we can lure them toward the northern plains, we can use the terrain and energy barriers to our advantage." Rylan nodded. "Then that's our plan. Let's move." The scout craft maneuvered through the atmosphere, dodging patrol ships and weaving between towers. Lyra guided Rylan with precision, her hybrid abilities enhancing the speed and accuracy of their movements. Jace monitored communications, sending alerts to the colony defenses. As they reached the northern plains, the alien ships followed, confident in their numbers. Rylan activated a series of energy barriers, creating a narrow corridor for the invaders. "Trap them," he instructed, a grin spreading across his face. "Time to see how clever they really are." The aliens responded, attempting to break through the barriers, but Lyra's calculations had anticipated their every move. The barriers deflected their attacks, and the invaders became trapped in a controlled zone. Rylan and Lyra worked together seamlessly, a dance of strategy, quick thinking, and human intuition. Suddenly, one of the alien ships broke formation and headed straight for the colony's power hub. Jace panicked. "Captain, it's going to destroy the energy grid." Rylan's eyes narrowed. "Not if we stop it. Lyra, I need your help." Lyra nodded. "We can redirect the energy pulse from the barrier to disable its engines temporarily. It will give us a window to capture it." Working together, they executed the plan flawlessly. The alien ship's engines sputtered and died, leaving it stranded. Rylan maneuvered the craft alongside it, using magnetic clamps to secure it. Lyra interfaced with its systems, deciphering the controls faster than any human or hybrid had a right to. "Got it," she shouted. The ship powered down completely, neutralized without harm to the colony. Jace whistled. "That was amazing. You two make a good team." Rylan chuckled. "Good, we're unstoppable." But Lyra's eyes were focused on the remaining ships. "There are more." But they're beginning to hesitate. They're analyzing the situation. Our tactics, they're proving effective. Indeed, the alien formation faltered, and the energy barriers allowed the colony's defense systems to strike strategically. Within minutes, the invaders were forced to retreat, their threat neutralized. The colony was safe, thanks to human ingenuity, bravery, and trust. As the last alien ship disappeared over the horizon, Rylan exhaled in relief. He turned to Lyra, a genuine smile spreading across his face. "We did it, together." Lyra smiled faintly, a warmth in her eyes that matched the glow of the retreating suns. "Yes, together." The three of them returned to the colony, where celebrations were already beginning. Citizens and officials alike cheered the humans who had defended them against impossible odds. But for Rylan and Lyra, the moment was quieter, a recognition of something deeper. The whispered yes from earlier now carried a new meaning: trust, reliance, and an unspoken bond forged through danger and triumph. Later, as the colony settled into evening, Rylan and Lyra walked along a quiet observation deck overlooking the city. The twin suns had set, leaving a sky filled with stars, each one a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy. "You know," Rylan said softly, "I didn't expect that your yes would come to mean so much. I thought it was just a joke." Lyra shook her head. "It wasn't a joke. Trust is rare, and I saw it in you not just because of courage or skill, but because you never gave up even when the odds were against you. That's human strength, Captain. That's what makes humans remarkable." Rylan felt a surge of pride. "And you're incredible. Not just because of your abilities, but because you inspire people to do better, to think faster, to never quit." Lyra looked at him, her expression softening. "Humans survive because we adapt, because we care, and because we fight when it matters. And sometimes because we connect with others in ways that even the universe can't predict." Rylan nodded, understanding. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers, but the strength of humanity and the bonds they formed was a force that could meet any challenge. Jace's voice broke the quiet from the communications room. "Captain, the Council wants to see you both. They want to honor your bravery." Rylan laughed. "Let's go, but remember, this isn't just about bravery. It's about teamwork, about trust. About showing the galaxy what humans can do." The Council meeting was formal but heartfelt. Awards and commendations were given, but the real victory was the knowledge that they had faced impossible odds and won, not through sheer firepower, but through human ingenuity, courage, and connection. Later, as the colony settled into the night, Rylan and Lyra stood quietly outside. The city below glimmered with lights, the result of a community saved by human skill and resolve. "You know," Rylan said, glancing at Lyra, "I think this is the start of many adventures." Lyra smiled. "It has to be. The galaxy is too big, too unpredictable, but as long as humans keep their courage and their connections, we'll always find a way." Rylan felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in a long time. The whispered yes from weeks ago had grown into something stronger, something unspoken but undeniable. It was a reminder that the human spirit, combined with trust, courage, and ingenuity, could shine even across the darkest corners of space. And as they watched the stars together, Rylan knew one thing for certain: humanity would endure, against all odds, against every challenge, because humans, no matter how small or isolated in the galaxy, had the power to adapt, to fight, and to triumph. Lyra's hand brushed against his, a quiet acknowledgement of trust and partnership. Rylan looked at her and smiled. In that moment, he realized that no matter what the future held, they would face it together. The universe might be vast and full of unknowns, but humanity, bold, clever, resilient humanity, was ready. And so, under the glow of 1,000 stars, their story continued. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and adventures yet to come. But one thing was clear. Together, Rylan, Lyra, and the human spirit were unstoppable. The night sky stretched endlessly before them, filled with the promise of new worlds, new dangers, and new victories. And in that infinite expanse, humanity shone brighter than ever.